When I got it, it's on.
Okay, it's on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, good. Okay, so let's get
It doesn't have a timer on it.
I know, it's just gonna go. We're just gonna say. Okay. Welcome to the Zan Wesley Holmes Jr. Community Outreach Center. I have such special guests, Alexis Williams. Hi, y'all. And we're gonna start in about 5 minutes. Thank you for attending today's How to Monetize the Podcast. We also have Mr. Terry Price from the Terry Price Show. So we look forward to a great lunch and learn.
Thank you guys.
Okay. All right.
You got one.
Everybody, we are live in Dallas, Texas. I'm Terry Price with the Terry Price Show. We are preparing to start this lecture here in about 5 minutes. I have Marissa, and I also have the most talented Miss Alexis Williams. That's right. So we preparing to start, y'all. And y'all just stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up next right here with Facebook Live with the Terry Price Show.
You gonna export it out?
Do you have a sign-in sheet with everybody's email address on it? Yeah, because she's gonna send them also, the Word doc that I sent you.
We're gonna send you a Word document, following this presentation, so make sure your email address. Okay.
Mr. Price, can I meet you? We're doing this together.
I know.
So is she uploaded?
Okay, so here's how you're gonna stand. I'm gonna stand in front of here. Over here, and then what happened is, out of the glare, this is in front of things, but so that you can, you tell me when to press.
Okay.
Gotcha?
Yep.
Y'all could talk to your audience
Okay.
on Facebook Live. Information.
Finally here where we're talking about how to generate wealth, having your own podcast, and the tools on how to build that. So we definitely know that we need more than 7 streams of income to do such, and that's who I got with me.
Hey, how y'all doing? That's Terry Price with the Terry Price Show. You already know what time it is. We teach financial literacy. We do have the blueprint, y'all. So you don't want to miss this. You want to make some money? Tune in, listen in, right now. We're live.
Yeah, so we're definitely here. We got Ms. Prices
Express in the
in the
building.
building. She teaches wealth, finance, and you already know she got the blueprint. So you definitely want to be tuned in live. You can tune in on the Terry Price Show on Matters of the Heart Facebook page, and you can definitely tune into the page. So definitely check us out. So stay tuned. Yes. So we're live at Zan Wesley Holmes Jr. Community Outreach Center. So you guys definitely tune in or go to their page.
Y'all could just go ahead and start talking about yourselves and while I'm doing this.
Okay. Hi guys, thank you for showing up. We appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. My name is Alexis Williams. The name of my podcast is called Matters of the Heart. And I am also co-host with The Terry Price on The Terry Price Show. Where we on the Terry Price Show, he'll tell you what he talks about on his podcast, but on my podcast, Matters of the Heart, I talk about financial literacy, religion, relationship, money matters, and how to redevelop our way of thinking by affirmation, affirming ourselves, so we can definitely accomplish the things that we need to accomplish and getting at our own self-mind of doubt and that we can't do it. So those are the things I talk about on Matters of the Heart. So, tell us about yours.
All right, I'm Terry Price, and what I do is I get straight to the point. I know everybody want to make some money, and so what I had to do is I had to one day sit down to myself, and I said, how can I make this money, make a lot of money without me getting in trouble, where it's legit, so I can have a legitimate business. So what I decided to do is, I know in my community, I come all the way from Fort Worth. I said to myself, what can I do to help my people make money? Where we don't have to be complaining, worrying about the government, worrying about Donald Trump. So I came up with a way. I said, what I need to do is, my people needs to learn how to make money. No one's teaching us that.
Right.
Most times our parents, they didn't know how to make money. All they knew was just to work. So I said to myself, I want to retire early. So I'm fortunate, I'm still working at it. I'm 40 years old. And so I just want to just kind of enlighten you on what you can do, because it's really not that hard. A lot of times when we talk about going into business for ourselves, we get a little paranoid, we get a little sidetracked, we get a little scared because we're so used to working, so we're afraid of leaving that safety blanket. So I'm not telling you you have to quit your job or quit your career job. All I'm just saying is you can make money by doing podcasts. We all know Facebook is full of drama, gossip, whatever it is.
We need that.
So what I said to myself, if everybody else can capitalize on making money off social media, why can't I?
Right.
So I said to myself, if anybody want to start a podcast, you want to get into something that's going to be relevant for the people. I decided to do financial literacy because I understand that's what's killing us.
Right.
We can't compete with the Asian people and all the other race of people. So what I said, if I can just educate my people on how to make money and how to reach out to the world, then we'll be okay.
Right.
So that's what the Terry Price Show is all about. We have the blueprint. Whatever it is that you are trying to learn or trying to do, we can teach you that. If you want to know all about taxes, that's very important with the black, especially with the black family structure. You got to learn how to do taxes. You got to know about paying your bills on time. You got to learn about credit.
Right.
You got to learn about ownership, title, deeds, whatever the case is, land, whatever the case might be. You need to learn how to have these things because it's within your reach.
Right.
But the problem is nobody's teaching us that. So when I said, let me say that, when I met Miss Francis, she didn't like me so much until
I got a jewel.
I was like, woo! This lady blessed me because I had an opportunity for her to just talk to me, and it's like everything that she said to me made sense.
Right.
Now, mind you, I've been talking about doing something for years, doing my own, making money and all that, but it seemed like everybody wasn't resonating with me, like it didn't make sense. But Chosen Army, when I met these two ladies, these ladies they gave me the blueprint. And so now I feel good because now I'm able to generate some type of income, make money, and I don't have to be complaining and blaming nobody else for why I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. So I don't want to hold you too long. I'm gonna turn it over.
You sure?
Back to you.
Wait, you sure? This is what we do, guys, on the podcast. We
That's
just
right.
our natural selves. It's our personality reign through. I'm
That's
a
right.
co-host with him with my company called Chosen Armor Consulting. But on my podcast, Matters of the Heart, I definitely want to talk about affirmations. It's key because a lot of times we don't have people to speak into us, to affirm us, and to say, hey, you're not by yourself when it comes to like building teams, finances, and relationships. And sometimes our past affect that.
That's
How
right.
we grew up, our limitations, and we think we're limited by that. So my objective on my podcast is to have you rethink and reshape your mind, because everything first starts in the mind. You got to plant those seeds to change it so you can see yourself owning what's already designed for you, and to speak your existence into play. Because that's the thing. All I'm doing is letting you see your reality that you was created to have. The earth is yours thereof, wherever your foot tread. So that's what I speak to existence on my podcast on the financial level, giving you tips on that, taxes, finances, relationships on a biblical principle standpoint. So, yep.
Oh man. She took the words right on. I'm sorry, Miss
Tell
Francis.
them where you are, tell them your background.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so a little bit about my background. I've done things in education. I was executive director for a lot of companies as far as tutoring, No Child Left Behind. And then I've worked at pharmacy tech. As a pharmacy tech, I have my license with that. I also have my adjuster's license with insurance. I have my license in life and health insurance as well. And I have my company called Chosen Armor Consulting, where we teach financial literacy, from helping you structure your business, startup business, a nonprofit business. We help you with grant writing as well with that to get your business funded. What else? I do taxes, I do payroll, bookkeeping, so all the in-house structuring for a business to thrive and succeed. I've worked with another community center called Project Transformation. I worked with the AmeriCorps group when I was young, so working in community centers is nothing foreign to me. I also have co-hosts with this one here. We also together have a group venture, a nail shop together as well, called 5-Star Nail Salon and Spa.
Where is that located?
It's at 4101 Ross Avenue, Suite 100. Dallas, Texas, 75204. Always plugging, and you'll learn that with the podcast. You're going to always plug what you're doing.
One more time.
4101 Ross Avenue.
Suite 100, Dallas, Texas, 75204.
So that's our nail shop that we have together. We do facials, we do massages, we do waxing, we do microblading, lashes, and manicures, pedicures.
Is it black owned?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Believe it or not, it is.
Yeah.
Sit right here.
Yeah.
Just a whole shebang.
Don't get no. Sure.
Yeah, don't get no better than this.
So we also want to tell y'all, and I like to just give a shout out real quick to Marissa with Blue Flame Graphics.
Right, come on, Marissa.
This is our graphic designer, so every
That's right.
great team needs one to be
need a
able to
team,
market
need a
it, to push you, and that's why we brought her along too, because that's important with your podcast. She also created our brochures here for
That's right.
our nail salon.
That's right.
So you're gonna always need that in the steps to take your podcast to the next level, and so she's gonna kind of get a little tidbit on that. So that's why we brought her, and of course she's kind of like part of the team, part of the ecosystem.
That's right. Gotta have a good team. Yeah,
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll just elaborate on the brochure since we have it in hand. So yeah, I created the logo. Usually ask a few questions and stuff to make sure that it gets to your brand, what you're wanting to portray, and work with you one-on-one with that, and then lay that out with the colors. The colors usually make everything else pop. You have to make sure that it's readable for all different customers and stuff like that. And these type of things help give information and make your business look great. And should tell you a little bit more about that at the end of our presentation here. I did also create the presentation and more how that kind of ties in with the overall topic of podcast today.
It's good to have her on our team.
Right? Thanks, fam.
She works hard, y'all.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to say?
So, Mr. Price, Mr. Hollywood.
No, I'm not Hollywood.
Yes, because you got a movie coming up.
Yes,
Nollywood.
Yes,
She's minus. He also got a movie coming up. So
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna push that. With the nail salon, we definitely want you guys to come out. It's a professional atmosphere, and I know a lot of time, a lot of us, our own kind, we feel some type of way about, some type of black-owned business. But I want to rest assure you that when you come out, we give you the 5-star treatment. We treat everybody like celebrity. We don't care what race you are. Everybody gets that first-class service. So we definitely want you to come out, get your wax, get your nails done, your pedicure, whatever the case might be, massages. We want you to come out, have a good time. We offer wine, we offer water, sodas. We also added desserts, right?
Yeah, we have chocolate covered strawberries for February and candy apples that have infused with CBD oils. And we also do have a line for CBD oil facials that no one else is doing in the game. It improves your skin. So we definitely want you to try that. It's called Cool Brand. I also got a stake in that with their stock with that company. So it is an excellent company though. So helps with skincare. We also have a muscle joint cream for anybody that suffers with arthritis, anything like that, joint pain. And you can also get that in your treatments with our facials, with a facial, as well as your pedicures and manicures. And we also sell the drops that you can take home and take them as well, put them in smoothies, anything like that. If you know anybody who suffer with attention deficit, if they're having problems with Alzheimer's, dementia, forgetting things, just for clarity, it helps with that as well. Your digestive, it also helps support weight loss. So definitely come check us out. You can see those products on our website as well, or you can purchase in-house.
All right, just to give you a little background about me, because I know you was talking about that earlier, and I know Ms. Francis brought that up. Just a little bit about me. I grew up in California, Los Angeles, California, to the mother and dad of Hal and Joyce Price. My mother was in the military, my dad worked on aircraft. So to make a long story short, I was just a young person just trying to figure out what is it for me to do in this world. And I knew I didn't want to sell drugs. I knew I wanted to do something positive to help my people. And I knew just complaining, sitting back, being on the sideline, I just couldn't do it that way. Right. And I really got a revelation one day when I went to a party in New York, and there was celebrities there, people that you see on TV and all that kind of stuff. So I said to myself, what can I do to fit in, to start making money, to be relevant in society, because I can't do 30 to 40 years in the penitentiary. I can't do that. And I said, at the same time, what can I do while I'm trying to make it? How can I help others make it? We got to have that safety net where I extend my hand out to you, you extend your hand out to somebody else, and then the chain keeps going.
Right.
So, I went to school, I was in student government. I worked as a nursing assistant for years. What else did I do? Got into acting, music, As a matter of fact, we got a new movie that's coming out. Should be heading to Netflix. It's called One Night Stand. My character is a guy that's just single, just full of drama. A lot of y'all see that on Facebook already. Just an outspoken person, that's all. I don't mean no harm, I don't mean to hurt nobody. So, I've been doing acting for a while. So, matter of fact, we're shooting in Little M this Saturday. So, y'all just need to link up with me. I'll give you more details with that, man. If you want to be inspired to get into acting, let me know.
Yeah, and shout out to
Larry. Yeah, Larry and his wife, yeah.
Also,
Kashana.
yeah, and also I want to shout out to Celebrity Chef Stu. So Marriage Boot Camp.
That's right.
Definitely being part of the camp as well. I also want to shout out to Ms. Gibson with her book, because she did her book signing with us. And like we're going to tell you, it's about building an ecosystem. So when you build that ecosystem and that team, that's vital for when you're pushing your views and your thoughts with your podcast. It's vital to go to networking events. Also, like you see us, there's no coincidence that we're throwing these plugs out there, because that's one stream of income that you'll make with the podcast. How that you do affiliate marketing and other stuff that we will talk about at the end of, close to the end of the podcast. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We thank you guys for coming in. So let's get started while we came here. How to generate income with a podcast. So a lot of times we ask the question, what is a podcast? A lot of times people don't know what a podcast is. So a podcast is something that it can be aired online, like we're streaming live right now. This could be considered a live podcast. We're both on our platforms, doing live on our platforms for our podcast. So, yeah. So what is a podcast? If you're currently asking yourself what is a podcast, the answer is fairly simple. A podcast is a recording of audio discussion on a specific topic, like business or travel, that can be listened to. They're often found on iTunes, Spotify, but are sometimes hosted on websites. This dynamic medium can be a perfect way to deliver your daily dose of inspiration wherever your audience may be. So you can post live anywhere. You can start a channel on Facebook with your podcast and marketing, and you can go live like we're live right now. Do YouTube, and YouTube is another great platform, because you're going to intermingle that. You're going to intermingle YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, to get your calls out. So a podcast is pretty much anywhere your audience can be digitally.
And let me tell you this, also with YouTube, what I'm finding out, when you have so many subscribers and so many viewers, they pay you.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, so I just wanted to let you know that.
And so there's, and that's why I said multiple streams, because you can get income from YouTube off of your podcast as well in itself. But as far as what a podcast is, you can do that digitally anywhere. If you got a phone, you can do a podcast. It can be live. You can get certain equipment that you can set up a room or office in your home, set it up. Or you can go somewhere live, like Terry Podcast is in Arlington, where you can go with the Fishbowl Network. There's different platforms that have the equipment for you, and but you got to be taught this, and this is why we're going over some key points. And so it's structured on how you structure your interviews, all those things, but you can be aired there on that platform. And even when we do our podcast with the Terry Price Show, we go live, Facebook Live, so your audience can see that. So if you're thinking about it, start thinking about who you know, building up your audience, telling them about it. Hey, I'm about to launch this. Okay, and so we're going to give little examples, because this is my podcast, and Marissa did the logo, Matters of the Heart. And even with that, when you're thinking about your podcast, Matters of the Heart, the logo has a lot of psychological value in it as well. So when you're thinking about that, your vision and what you want to say across from it, it must do that, because Matters of the Heart is what I'm talking about. And so the green means the gold is courage, purple means truth, and then the green is growth and also money, because I want your finances to grow. And so all of that it takes key, and then that T in the middle, that's why it's larger, because I do it with a biblical approach. So I just broke that down. When looking at my logo, it broke down exactly what my podcast is, Matters of the Heart. And so this platform here is Anchor. So there's multiple platforms you can be on to widespread your podcast. And so what we're going to listen to is my trailer.
You're tuned into Alexis with Money Matters and Heart of the Matters, where we discuss financial literacy and things that plague the heart, and talk motivational experiences and encourage one another. You got it here first at Podcast with Alexis on weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays from 9 to 11. Money Matters and Heart of the Matter.
And so I played this because it's an edit version. So it shows you that you can mess up and you can go back and redo it the correct way and have your listeners listen to it. Because I can go in this platform and Anchor, mess up a million times. The one, I don't have to publish it yet, so don't get nervous like, because sometimes it takes time to get used to hearing your voice, how you sound, how you want to sound, what you want to convey. So you just don't worry about it. If you got a voice, a platform, something that you want to speak to, you can definitely do a podcast and make money. All right, so this is one of the platforms. And then, wait, before you hit this Terry, upgrade when you get into the big leagues, I helped him create this commercial. So you do a commercial on YouTube where you can display what you're talking about with your podcast and advertise. And then you do something like a photo shoot. But you don't necessarily have to be there to start. That's why I showed two different platforms where you can, from a beginning, and then increase as you level up and go to the next level. So you can go ahead and play his. So even I'm kind of talking about you see Terry Price logo when we created the logo, we had the consultation on it. His logo before was just like a mic and just with him a picture well, we can still do a mic secondary, but because his show is his name, we get the silhouette of him and the background is like a tonal. He's larger than life coming out because that's his personality. His thing is bold, innovative, and his name to the forefront in Price Show. Because eventually we thought about what he wants to do future. So on his show, we will be taken to the next level here soon, and we're gonna do a talk show with it. So there's many ways you can start your podcast, like I said, and grow and grow. And so you wanna think about where you wanna go future-wise with your podcast when you're putting in play to be able to have growth. All right, so 2, you skip. Oh. Okay, no, you did. So working at, no, you did. No, you're good. We went there. Younger. That was me. Younger. So where can I hear a podcast? If you got a smartphone, a tablet, the easy way to find and listen to a podcast is through dedicated podcasting apps. Like you've seen with mine, my app was Anchor as one of the platforms. Dozens are available. If you're unsure where to start, I can recommend Pocket Cast, i.e. you can find Matters of the Heart podcast, which is available on iOS, Android, and Windows Phone. On a computer, the most popular way to find and listen to a podcast is through Apple, iTunes software, which has a dedicated podcast section listing thousands of different episodes and programs, strands, and a built-in system for downloading episodes, transferring them on iPad or iPhone. So, how to get started with a podcast, you definitely want to start off with what do you want to talk about? What's your platform? What's your why to the world? If you're a business, it's a good way to put your business out there, especially if you're a nonprofit organization or like even the community, to be able to do a podcast, putting your mission out there, what you want to convey. And so once you do that, then you start saying, this is the picture I want, this is how I want to look and sound, this is the name of the podcast, and then you would get with somebody like Marissa to do your graphics. to be able to make sure that convey the message. Like you see our logo, that, because that's going to be your face of your podcast when people see it and you're represented. After that, you want to think about what you want to talk about, the type of guest that you want to interview, because that's key. Finding key speakers that you want. Like for me and Terry's platform, like we said, we talk about financial literacy. And so we invited Miss Francis out, which is awesome. Y'all got a jewel here, I'm trying to tell you.
That's right.
So she talks about fluently and effortlessly the things that's going to plague, our community, how to balance from that, how to prepare, what to do, what to look for in the stock market and everyday living so we can be braced and prepared. So she talked about all those key points. So when you have a heavy hitter like that, that's going to draw your, if your ratings are already up there or your following's already up there and she has a following, it's just going to draw your numbers up. And so the more numbers that you get, like on platforms like Anchor and other podcasts or Apple, you're going to get top Fortune 500 companies looking at your podcast, what message you're conveying. So you want to make sure it's clean, you want to make sure it's precise, because some won't give you sponsorship. So they'll look at it and say, oh, this message convey this. If you're talking about childcare for your podcast, you may have diapers, like Pampers looking at your commercial. Start Tara's Us if you have like reviews. So they may say, hey, we want you to talk about this product and we'll pay you from $25. They pay from like $25 to $50 an episode that you air. So it's something like you have your regular and then in between you will air what they want you to air for a commercial. And so when you do that and the listener listens and get clicks, you get paid. So that's another form of how you can get paid from that. And so when you're looking at, yes, go ahead.
And sorry.
No, you okay? That's okay. Y'all can ask questions.
Okay, I thought we was holding
No,
to the end.
no, at any time.
Questions.
Yeah, at any time you guys can ask questions. We want you to be interactive.
So how do you get, so like you said that, so they come looking for you.
Yeah.
You don't go looking for them. You like, see, I have an assistant and like, do I send her out to just go find sponsors for me?
Well,
I
no,
mean, my
there's
podcast
different.
hasn't started yet, but I'm still like looking for like people to sponsor me and stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I've helped another person that has a podcast currently going, and a good startup way to go ahead and get people, starting with business owners or other different ventures that are directed to whatever your podcast is, networking events.
Yeah.
Go to
That's
networking
right.
events.
Yeah,
Those people are willing to help you, and they're willing to get their business out there.
Right.
So that's a good way. And then once you gain
Your following.
the following,
Because you gotta
right?
build your following. So like,
then the big people are gonna see.
yeah.
That's right.
And not necessarily, because I only did 3 episodes on Anchor, and Anchor sponsored me.
Oh,
So it's just depending on your content and how fast. And in that system, they will be finding you because you're on the platforms online. They're looking and searching you out. They know most of the platforms. So they're looking for your podcast. Go ahead.
Now, you mentioned the networking, well, I'm sorry, Marissa mentioned the networking organizations, but are you speaking of where these network meeting? Because like if I'm a farmer and I grow beans, there's beans organization, there's different types of beans, thousands of types of beans. So if I'm into networking to start up, what networking events will I go to, and where will I go, what site will I go to find out where they're gonna be at?
Okay, so like just like the community center here, anytime they have events and put things on, this is a great base to start. To be at some networking stuff. You can find free stuff in Dallas, say events that's free, events that's coming up, or network. Facebook posts plenty of stuff, what you're gonna be doing to get your stuff out there. They post plenty of stuff for events and networking events. Some of them have a free cost and some cost like $5 or $10. But when you're thinking about networking, you first, like I said, need to think about what do you want your message and your podcast to say. Then you go after those networking events. If you are taxes and finances, then you need to be in that network.
That's
And not necessarily don't just stick in that branch, kind of branch out a little bit. Because anybody that wants to get their business out there, you want to be there because you're saying, hey, I have a podcast, let's advertise and market. So one thing people like to say, I'm being on a radio. Podcast and radio is the same. Podcast, believe it or not, is taking over radio. No one does radio anymore. It's about podcasts.
So another one to answer your question, there is a website called Meetup.com. It's free to join. I would highly recommend joining it. You just make a username and password, and they have specific groups that's going to target your audience or whatever your subject is about. And they are legit. I've been to a lot of them. I've had former clients that have been to them, because if you just Google it, I went to this one place in Dallas, it wasn't legit, and I spent I live in Denton, so I spent a good hour or so, for this event, spent a babysitter, and nobody was there.
Right.
But everyone that I went to for Meetup, it was legit.
And too, like step by step, how you can actually walk you step by step. Me and Marissa has a webinar that we teach you step by step instructions from hold your hand on how to set up a podcast. 101, the platforms get you started, and it's only 2 weeks and it's $150 to do it. But here I'm giving you the meat and potatoes where you can start and think about it and do research on your own. And we do payment plans too, break it down into before installments.
She had a question.
Okay.
The different platforms, do they have fees? Like you listed like
Some
7.
have fees and some don't. So you have some that do have fees, and there's a lot that don't. That's why I'm putting y'all in game. Like you can get started with for my webinar, it's only $150 to get started with that, and you can get everything to get yourself started like that same day.
Just set you with all the platforms.
Yeah, all the platforms. Marissa's added in there. This is your logo person. We've already we know what it takes, and Mr. Price will be on there giving some information, as well as we have Miss Gibson that will be giving you, and she's a celebrity. By the way, that's Tyrese Gibson's sister.
She'll be here at the end of the month. So
yeah.
She's coming, Tyrese Gibson's sister.
Baby boy, the
Yeah.
singer.
Queen
that's
G.
his
Queen
sister.
G.
Queen
She
G.
has her magazine that came out. She has her book, an author, and so she'll be here, and I'll probably be here with her just to assist her in her element.
On
Because
the 25th.
Yeah, so we.
Yeah, the 25th of February.
And so she's gonna give you guys templates on interviews,
Right.
how to interview, because there's an art to that. So we teach you how to interview your guests, how to put out a press kit and send to them so they can pay a good price list. Because not only on your podcast, you can also set it up where you can set donations. You're gonna set up a web page, a template. I can show you how to do that for nothing. So
Queen G and I, the reason why we got Queen G, because Queen G and I were on Terry's show together. And so that's how we connected.
Right, and then Jeff that I knew through Jeff hooked me up with Marissa, so that's how I got Marissa to do some of our stuff. And then he called me and said, Alexis, can she interview with you? Because you good to me. Can you interview? And I was like, yeah, we at the spot right now.
I designed his t-shirts and his food truck menu through my
So that's why I
business
said
partner
building
who-
your
Ecosystem.
ecosystem.
You got to be loyal to people who
It's about
loyal
who
to
you know.
you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's who you know.
And so
That's right. But you got to have some loyalty, because a lot of people come and want to take but don't want to give. So
Yes,
you have to
That's
have
right.
loyalty.
That's definitely
and that
right.
shows up in consistency,
Right.
following up,
That's right.
And Queen G's gonna have her mastermind class where she teach media concepts. So that's gonna be great, and I'm working with her with that because we also is partnering up with some other celebrities that I was introduced to. That's gonna be a great team to really put it in the forefront. So that's why I was like, you definitely want heavy hitters on your show so people can look. You also want to write out to other local artists, people, so they can come on your show. So that's going to bring your ratings up. That's going to have people look at you more. I also have a partnership with Dallas Weekly. So sometimes when my guests come on, I can say, hey, I want your brand out there. That's that extra value that I'm adding to the podcast. And that I added with Terry's podcast because we like I co-host, but this is my partner in my ecosystem. We do a lot of things together, and so you want to be adding that extra value. Not only does that happen in Dallas Weekly, I was also able to get Dallas Weekly a partnership with the Fishbowl Network, so they can do their partnership with that and make money. So you want 7 streams,
Right.
even with the podcast. So with the podcast, one way, let's recap, to make money is to get the sponsors to look at you, and that's easy. Just make sure you have great content, and also that you're clear, concise, don't have any vulgar language, because sometimes that can stop your sponsorship. We want you to be you, ultra-rated you, and authentic, but you want to make sure you listen, watching your language, because some people are not going to want to sponsor that if they're a family sponsor for different things. The second thing is you want to be able to set up for Terry Price Show. At the beginning, we had donations, and we still have it, where you can do donations. So if we say we want to help a business in the community, they can't afford high prices, but they can give a donation. So they can offset some of your costs. And not only offset some of your marketing costs, like when you're trying to get graphics and promote different things. Third, what you can do is have a pay sheet. So it's a pay sheet, what you want to pay, what's your value of your show, but make sure you're getting your likes and your views up. Then you want to create a YouTube channel where you are getting money from off your YouTube channel, bringing likes there, and then you can upload those same videos on your Facebook Live as well.
Now, let me say this. Always take advantage of the opportunity that when it presents itself. And what I did was, I received a letter because my grandfather, he's deceased now, and he donated $2 million to the United College Negro Fund. So for some reason, I was just looking at that paperwork, and I was like, man, that's a lot of money just to donate. So what I did was, I called the little number on there, talked to this lady named Jennifer, and me and her just talking and laughing. I was telling her who I was and told them what I'm doing and everything. And she said, okay, give me your information, let me check you out and everything. So we just been contacting each other. And so she was like, you know what? We having a gala out here in Beverly Hills. I'd love to invite you to come out. We're gonna have all the celebrities here. Anthony Anderson from Black is gonna be there. So she said, hey, you're welcome to come out. I'm gonna give you the passes, come in. So sometimes you just gotta do your own. You do your own work on your own time. I mean, I knew I was talking to a bigwig, so I said, well, hey, this is an opportunity for me to try to get in through that door.
You get your press passes, like we have press passes where you can.
To get in.
Yeah, so we have that connection where you can get a press pass. So you can go to different events. Tell them who you are. Go to different things and say, my platform will be great. Can I interview these people? You can go to restaurants, different things, and say, hey, can I interview your new establishment that opened here? So that's a good connect, just depending on what you're trying to do, with your mission. So I want you guys to. You
gotta sell yourself.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. Sell yourself to people.
Put yourself out there.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah.
You know your worth. You know what you're good at doing. Just say, hey, I can do this. This is what I can offer to you. And if they like it, they'll say, well, come on.
Right. And so as for a business, like for me with Chosen Armor Consulting, we talk about things like that. So even on the show, people are like, oh, I need a grant wrote. So that's more for my business. So with me putting out there, people want people they can relate to.
That's right.
And that they can understand even in what you're doing and that you're relatable. It gives you credibility. So with your business and your company. Now, you also want to be able to do the things that you say you can do. Now, that's more credibility than that. But you want to be able to you want to be able to do the things that you say you can do. So that's credibility. So if you're good at what you do in your business, if you're a realtor, real estate right now is hot here in Texas. So you want to be marketing yourself that way.
And if you do, not to cut you off, if you do tell somebody something, you know you can't do it, get in contact with us. We'll plug you with the right people right away to save your reputation. This happened before.
You got it from the Zan Wesley Holmes Jr. Community. That's
right.
We'll plug you in.
And that's also part of your ecosystem building, because if there's some things I can't do and market, I know that Ms. Hey, she got this workshop coming up. You definitely want to be here.
That's right.
Or this person here, so they're gonna appreciate it and send vice versa, so the money flow is going.
Like taxes, like a lot of people come to me asking me questions. It's nothing wrong with saying, well, hey, I don't know, but I can lead you to the right people. And when I do, I send them her way. That's money for her to make.
Yeah.
So you gotta have this networking chain going on. You gotta have a team, and good teams win championship. I always preach that. Good teams win championship. You got a good core of people. She does I do the interviews or whatever, or she does the money and the taxes.
Right.
She does the reporting and making the logos. So we all just you gotta have that team. Everybody responsible for something. And she's good at money. And I said, man, that's good to have her on your team because, man, she's just good with numbers, facts, figures. And I need that because I'm not good at that. And there's nothing wrong with that, You just have to be able just to have you a good team. And like I said, at the end of the day, good teams win championships.
And just to think about your podcast as well. There's single podcasts like Matters of the Heart was single, but with Terry Price Show, he has me and my business partner Felicia. Hi, Felicia, if you watching Miss Felicia Boyd, that could make it. So she's part of my group with Chosen Armor Consulting, my business. I also have a nonprofit organization called Junior Billionaires, where we teach young people financial literacy. So, but we're part of that team, and we talk about money matters. We talk about things that's in our community, up to elections, the things that we need to get our minds straight on. We're working together. On his show, there's no corners. We might talk about anybody, anything. That's like the Popeye situation with them doing crazy stuff with purchasing. We like, how many banks that could have been, how many schools that could have been.
Could have given it to the Price Show, $25 million.
Right. So we talk about a lot of things on the show, but it's an easy bounce off of each other because it's just not one host. He'll start it off. It's like we know how to play off each other and make it happen. And one person is on social media, interacting with people live. We're fortunate that Miss Felicia husband, Showtime Barnes, that's a producer, had a top sports show. So he sometimes helped produce the show for us, cue us when to go to commercial, things like that. But when you're on online platform like Anchor and other things, it's easy. It's kind of like a guesswork. I can show you how to place your commercials in, how to do a break in there. It's just that you can pretty much talk about any topic that you want to. But when you're in a group, you got to stay on topic. And you got to know how to interview and who's going to ask what questions or plug in. And sometimes you can shoot off at the cuff because you're in a group. But when you're by yourself, you got to be precise. Know that person before they come in. And it's okay to send a thank you and advertise on social media for them because they're going to be your guests on your show.
And you will learn as you go. Like you're not going to know everything overnight. I've been doing this. I think I started back in 2008 or 2009. I've been to places. I started off. I was sleeping on my grandmother's floor. I lived in my car, out of my car. So anybody can do it. It's just you have to change your mindset. And if you got a good mindset of what you can do, anybody can do it. And with this opportunity, it helped me to travel to different places, meet new people, go to private parties, meet celebrities and all that. That's the assets that you have when you just be you, be yourself, just know your worth. And like I said, get you a good team of people together, and y'all all have a meeting, y'all all sit down and say, okay, I want to start a love show. Then, you put all your pieces together. Everybody does this. Even Mark Cuban I tell people, it's not that Mark Cuban is so smart, it's he got a team, he got a good team around him. You know what I'm saying? So that's all you need is a good team. And like I said, you got to know how to lead people in the right direction. I don't know nothing about graphics. I say, I'm going to send them to Marissa. If you want to know something about money, hey, I send it to this lady right over here, man. The best. So anybody want to know taxes, send it here. So you just gotta have that plug, plug people to the right people, and it's gonna make you look good because the first thing people gonna say, how did you hear about me? Terry Price sent me. That makes you look good. So you got 1 million people saying that, then you might as well run for president.
Right.
Okay, going back to an old question.
Yeah.
All of us is pretty much starting from the ground bottom. So about what time do you start advertising your podcast? Is it when you start actually getting stuff together? Like you got your engineer, you got your video camera, you got a studio to do it. Because me, I hate to hear people on Facebook saying, yeah, I'm gonna get a business. And then it's 2 years later, I'm like, okay, where's the business? You don't want to
It
get
just
old
all
with
talk,
it.
right.
Yeah, you don't want to get old and keep putting it out there and there's no content coming out. So
That's right.
when do you
Should you get
suggest
started?
that, you start advertising it?
Well, for one, you need a concept. You don't start nothing until you have a foundation. So you gotta have your concept. What is your concept of your show? What are you trying to convey? What message do you want to come across with your podcast? What type of people that you want to reach? You set your outline out. Once you get that, then you go networking with different people, possible candidates. But before that, before you start the network, after you do that, you want to go ahead and get your logo, your graphics, design, a web page design.
That's where I'm at right there.
Yeah.
Cause I got all the stuff that you just said, and then you said logo, and I was like, damn, I don't have it.
Yeah,
My bad,
because
sorry.
that represents your show.
You get with the team, get the right team.
So like podcast logos is similar to like when you see taglines when you see food trucks. How food trucks have those type of quirky taglines and things like that. You want stuff that stands out, that's unique, because you got a lot of people right now that are doing podcasts. But believe it or not, that's the platform. That's what everybody listen to and wanna hear their go-to. And so if you, like I said, already have a business established, that gives you a little bit more credibility.
That's right.
You want to get your YouTube presence because you want to build followers there so you can get multiple streams of income and to push people there to follow you. It's just like pushing them from different platforms to follow what you're doing.
Oh, okay. What you just said, like, okay, so how do you do that? Cause I feel like, dang, that was actually one of my questions I wrote down. Like, do you use your personal social account, or do you use like a separate account?
You want to do a separate account.
Okay, so don't send it, so everybody that's on my personal, then just start pushing them over.
Yeah, you push them and say, hey, you do an announcement and you say, hey, podcast launching such and such time, come check out this page. But once you say you launch, make sure you launch, and then make sure you're consistent. And with our webinar, we teach you the proper times, because there's even proper times to do your podcast on set days where people you get
And you
followers.
can put out teasers and stuff, and
Yeah.
that's gonna keep people and know that you're doing action. Say you put out, hey, I've got the logo coming. Here's like, kind of a little tidbit of it. Okay, here's the logo. Okay, we got our Facebook page coming. Then you get like a Facebook banner. Then you're like, okay, I think I want to do it on YouTube. So you get, YouTube, or you say different quotes. That's what she does on her.
And that's what mine's on my
because
page.
it goes with her podcast, Affirmations.
Pretty sure from a promo too is good to have.
Yeah, a promo, of course, like that commercial that you seen that was Terry's
that
promo.
was like a promo video.
But if you don't have that right now,
before you launch.
Yeah. And if you can't afford the promo right now, just like mine's where I had the little intro promo, that's enough. You can send that out to them so they can hear it audible. You want to layers and build yourself. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Also, once you start having those followers, you can start, which we're good at as well, and we teach you how to market yourself, like t-shirts, mugs. Like my thing is called Matters of the Heart. I will be launching a line called Affirmation in Motion because I'm all about speaking things into existence. Yeah. I'm not. So it's gonna have mugs and things like that, shower curtains, so you can see your affirmation, tennis shoes, or you can wear it. Y'all heard that
And
here.
with my part in with our webinar,
It's copyrighted, by the way.
I also partner with a printer. So
Yeah.
not only are you getting the graphics, but you're also getting all the files with it.
Yeah.
And you're getting
and we can
not
create
have to worry about the middleman, setting up for print and stuff. I do all that for you.
Yeah. So we have an in-house. That's why I say it's good to do our webinar, because we have everything in-house from what you need from print and with growth, because you're going to grow, and then there's different things to even get to the level where we're about to launch with Terry a show. So we want growth, and we have even graphic designers, videographers, different things like that, show you how to do stuff with media, how to put your stuff out there. Like she gave you a little tidbit with networking. Also, we have a platform where you can create multiple websites and advertise things that's cheap. So we have that platform built in as well.
Target your audience.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
And marketing campaigns all in one, where you're not spending a lot of money to do that. It's built in all in one.
Yeah, I've heard you say a couple of times with a biblical approach. What does that mean?
So with a biblical approach, because a lot of times when I talk about money, it's going to be from a biblical standpoint. So like I say, you need 7 streams of income. That's in scripture. So you need, yeah. So you need that. So if I talk about, you know, money, a man and his money, a fool and his money should soon part. What are you doing with your money? How are you doing that? So I'm going to give you biblical principles because that's just my belief in my platform.
Right, and I'm also biblical, and I've listened to her podcast, and in her Affirmations one, she has the tone of, you know, a Christian that is understanding, that looks at the points of view the way the Lord would. So it's underlining, but it doesn't say, you know, blast God and Jesus and stuff for different.
And to piggyback off of
make it
that,
universal.
that makes, I mean, that's a good question you just asked, but me and her always talk about common sense. But anyway.
Yeah, common sense ain't so common sense with everybody. And so when I say Christian, because I go hardcore, because a lot of people don't even live out what they say they're supposed to in scriptures. And so let's get the cobwebs out. Let's start doing what we say we're going to do. And I might rag on some pastors for not doing what they're supposed to do and challenge your faith. Are we going to sit back and wait for people to do stuff for us? The scripture never said to do that. Are we going to wait for a pie in the sky to come down? Or what are we doing to affect our community? You know, we got the answer within us. That's why I say affirmation. If I'm where my foot, I own this, me, wherever my foot go, I can possess the land so I can speak to that and start walking it out. Because a lot of times we just say faith, 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 but without works it's dead. So you got to put some action in things. And when you do that, make the vision plain, like we're doing now. How to build building blocks. It's all about that. So that's what my platform. Terry talks about a whole lot of different stuff on his, and you'll find a lot of platforms talk about a lot of different things. But that's why I said find what works for you. You're going to do a niche that works for you. So.
You want to see it?
Yeah. And so this is Terry's podcast with Miss Francis. So I want you guys to look at it and kind of see this is what a podcast is like.
That's an opportunity. Yep. That's an opportunity. See, I don't want you to look at this as being fear.
No, I'm not. I'm listening. I'm all ears.
It's an opportunity.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, this is the first time. This is the very first time.
She's been on there several times.
She's been on there several times. This is the very first time. Everybody kept saying, bring her back. We like, we got this. She a regular.
Right. So you're distracted. Now, let's look at what happened.
And y'all on the phone because I'm on Facebook and YouTube, so don't take y'all. And we're live here.
During the racist slants, what came out? J.P. Morgan sent out a mass email and said, dump the dollar. And they have a big trash can with the dollar saying, get rid of the dollar because the dollar is in decline. Okay, so they had this man, but guess what? We had a lot of noise in the background. So everybody was focused on the noise while not getting their game plan on for Wednesday. Yeah. You see what distractions? That distraction. So guess what I did? Me and some folks from the class, we went to the silver and gold place. And we had a lesson in how to purchase silver and gold.
And we went.
We did. The distraction was going on. We were at silver and gold.
Silver and gold.
Making moves. That's right. We're not making money moves.
Right.
So by making those moves now, we were educating ourselves not to buy the panic, understand what the stock price is, understand what it means when you're going to purchase so much above premium, knowing the type of generic versus Eagles. So we went through a whole lesson on how to create your strategic plan when it comes to gold and silver. Okay? Because what has to happen is you have to have sound money. Now, I'm not saying you get rid of cash, because you're going to need cash, and we're going to get, when we get down the road closer to this election, you're going to think, because when things start to bottom out and top, you're going to wish you would have started.
So when you talk about silver and gold, you just talking about any silver gold, like gold coins, silver bars, and all that? That's what you're talking about?
It's round to bars.
Round to bars, okay.
Now there's generic, and then there's Eagles, the Liberties. They're a little bit more expensive, but I tell everybody you have to have a combination of both, and you also have to have things in various denominations. So carrot, you know, half a gram, that's what I mean, a gram. You have to have a tenth, you know, different, a half, a quart, whatever, just, you know, create, don't have 1 ounce, because sometimes that's gonna be hard for you to barter with, okay? Yeah. So you understand that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so so that's your first thing. So first, cash, that's your first line of defense. Second, silver and gold for purchasing power. Okay, now the third line is going to be for you to watch this market. Why? Because the opportunities are going to sneak us. 2025 brings on a change in the automotive area.
Really?
Yes. It's called electric cars.
Electric cars?
Yeah. They get rid of the combustion engines.
Really?
Yeah, they all made an agreement.
Yeah, with gas and all that stuff, oil, yeah.
Yeah. So now, since they're gonna get rid of
Time they can get into that stuff.
yeah.
Hey, the place is still right.
Not a time. It's
Alright.
That's right.
Yes.
Electric cars, lithium batteries, those are cobalt.
Right.
No, that's opportunity.
Right.
That's your opportunity. Why? Because once the global standard, see, electric cars is a global standard. It's not a U.S., just a U.S.
Right, right.
Since it's a global standard, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to see more and more car dealers go out of business.
Oh, I would believe that.
Oh, yeah. What are they going to have to do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've been doing now. Did you know? Nissan, Toyota, GM, Ford, they've been doing massive layoffs.
Oh, yeah.
You understand? So, why? Because they're getting ready for the electric cars. Now, the next thing is, after electric cars, they're going to do self-driving cars.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. I've been hearing about that for a long time.
That's right. See, so the autonomous environment, that autonomous community. So, first electric, then autonomous. Why? Now, why would they need electric? Think about that. To track. All right. No, they can't do it with combustion engines.
Driving your soul.
That's right.
Do whatever they need to.
Yeah.
On your car, no?
That's right.
Turn it right off.
So when you see the people stop upside
There's
down,
some slick ones. What?
I say it's gangsta. That's right. What? That's right.
There's some.
Oh, they gangsta.
And see, we have fun on the show. So bring out that personality. You
should understand that. So
we gotta learn.
Wow.
That's why she's in the building. It's the time and season for right now, such as this. That's why I wanted y'all to be prepared and to know and know what's upon us. The scripture tells us we believe in the word so much. He said, "I will not have you ignorant concerning devices of the enemy." So let's get it together.
So when they talk about thieves and they talk about what? How they think.
Oh, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I said, okay, ain't nobody doing money laundering except people who own what? The opportunity. That's right. So come on now, let's be real about this. You understand? So electric cars, that's one of the major areas you got to do your due diligence. I'm not going to give any recommendations because I'm not a licensed investment advisor, but I just want you to do your due diligence. The second area you got to do due diligence when this crash comes is 5G, the big telecommunication.
Yeah, that's why we do
That's right.
That's right. 5G. Why?
want to invest in that. Because
Right.
That's
That's right. 5G is necessary to bring on those third world countries. See, remember now, the wealth transfer, the Western countries are going to become poor, while the Eastern countries become rich.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So that wealth transfer, so you need those people to be able to do business in other countries.
Okay.
So what's the best way? The telephone. Because we all don't have one. So, first, electric cars. Second, 5G. Third, payment systems.
Payment systems.
FinTech is the mastermind. PayPal. These are all these new payment systems. Square. These are payment systems. So you have to research new payment systems that are going to happen globally.
Right.
You understand? Because what you have to realize is this, that when these payment systems start to expand to these countries, think about it, billions and billions of dollars. But guess what? Guess what's good about the country you live in? You're on the ground floor. You can get invested. Whereas most of those people, when they come online, they're not going to have the opportunity that you have.
Okay, so we like to play back clips so you can get
Go
like.
ahead and pass these out.
Yeah.
Some kind of left those.
Yeah.
And get the opportunity.
So I wanted you guys to kind of see what a podcast, the possibility of a podcast, how we kind of interact. We didn't over talk the guests. We let them shine. We kind of ask questions on it in their element, and we kind of let them know ahead before they came on the show our interview style. So anybody see anything different? Anything you can take away from that by watching it, or give you some ideas? So how many of y'all just like excited about starting your own podcast and think it's feasible? If you have any questions, like, so what is your theme for your podcast? You right here.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't have one. I don't have one. Me and my girlfriend were just thinking about doing one together. We used to do a food blog where we go out and go to restaurants and stuff. But she moved far away. Well, she's still in Texas, but too far for us to meet up to have.
That's the point. That's the great thing about the podcast, because y'all can be in two different spots
Exactly.
and still do your podcast together.
So that's when we're like, we could rebrand it and and then play on it, because we've been friends since kindergarten, but we're very different. Like, she's white, I'm black. She's very white, and I'm very black. And it works. It's a friendship. So we have different. What's the word?
Points of view?
Thank you. Yeah, and we see things differently, and it's a conversation that you need to have with someone of a different race or a different background, and you can have that conversation and not be angry after you're done, and still be a friend. So.
Right. So yeah, that's awesome.
So I guess I do have one.
Yeah. And like I was saying, like
Thank
you can get different people to like PR work and publicize it, and then even set up food tastings. Or like Taste of Dallas. Have you ever heard of Taste of Dallas?
Oh yeah.
Like, so you can get your podcast to come out there and represent and interview. So you can do live remote, or you can do Insight wherever you want to set up, or you can do it through webinar where both of y'all, because Facebook now don't have where you do one-on-one where people can see you together, so you have to do it now in webinar. So, but you don't have to necessarily be in the same spot to do your podcast together.
Could you explain, I was looking up a little bit about this before I came. IP, intelligent property, what is that? A lot of people tell you, oh, don't sell it.
Yes, your intellectual property. And so like your content, when you have a podcast, like that's your intellectual property. On some things you want to copyright. If it's tailored to your business, you want to copyright some things that you want to use and sell later to do a webinar, to teach or to inform. You want to copyright that part of information.
What do you exactly copyright? Like the whole thing, or just a phrase, or just
your whole content.
Isn't that your intellectual?
Yeah, I'm probably going, that's
Your
probably something
content
that you
and
would,
brand.
yeah, that's probably something you would go over in your classes that
Yeah.
you got, so I
Yeah, we
get
do.
it.
Yes.
I get it, you ain't trying to give too much, I get it.
No, so but you can easily go downtown Dallas. I'm not related to get your stuff copyrighted, and there's stuff you can look online to
You can get your DBA really quick.
Yeah. So that's
DBA
information that's
is
out there.
Doing business as, and you just go down to the tax office, pay like, I think it was
Yeah.
25 or 45 bucks depending on where you're at, and you write down your business name and,
Or you wanna do-
officially a business and you'll get it.
Yeah, and that's on that
And you
lower
can use
level.
that to open up a business account as well.
When you go in and know if anybody
Yeah.
person got it where you go all that, waste that time going through it just for local state, you may wanna take it somewhere, but you need to have it where. no
It's
one
structured
is-
like a business because again, remember I said you're gonna pay people to come on your show. You want your account set up so you can do that. You
You
can
have
do
to
tax
do that
writes
for
off for
taxes.
that, your tax purposes. So and deductions that you can do for your marketing that you do. But if you want that protection, you want an LLC. So that's what you wanna start with.
Yeah, or insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose all that when I get the course, I'm just getting your class. Just getting your class, too much.
You're good.
And so because y'all here, there's a discount on it because you was here. And then we would like you guys to also come on our platform to show like, yeah, this was great. It was a great investment for me.
Did you
So,
talk
yeah.
about the 5 different,
Yeah, we kind of went over it.
things?
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
And you definitely wanna come out because we located at the ballpark
Arlington.
in Arlington now, right across, right across from the new state, Cowboy Stadium. It's not
Yeah.
new no more, but.
Texas
right
Rangers.
across the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
definitely.
there's different platforms. If you want to use the Fishbowl platform, you can. But if you don't have that money to do that right now, then you can do all the online platforms, get yourself, build your audience, and then you say, hey, we're moving to this new location, and we can help you with that transition too, to be part of the Fishbowl network. And then we can show you eventually too, to get into like turn it into a television show if you want
Right.
that.
Would you feel that it would be too risky to start off with a video podcast first versus just audio? Because I feel like people are visual. Like I love like I like to listen to a podcast, but it's nothing but like sitting there in my truck just looking.
I like to watch, me too, I like to
So
watch
like
people.
what you seen him do, we did a combo. So when you was on there, we was actually doing the podcast.
Yeah.
But we was live as well to do videos, and then you can upload that to YouTube for people to follow on your pages where people can see it live as well as hear you on your podcast.
But it would be nice to have an extra person where they can answer all the comments on the Facebook Live, because you can have live questions and stuff. That way you can be interactive with whoever your guest is, or you can be interactive with the camera, which would be interactive with the audience.
And so if it's you starting off, that's why I said, if you just one man show, Audible is the way to go, because if you go like visual, it's gonna be hard for you to interact unless you just like record it, put it on YouTube, and then just, put the Audible part that way.
We went to the big room, okay, so that was when we first started, we were in a small room, then we moved to the big room.
Because we kept growing.
What happened then, Felicia, who's not here, but she was actually typing and communicating, so people would, we opened up this, okay, so we had to open up the telephone, and we had people to type in on Facebook, and so she would shoot me the questions, you see what I'm saying? So then the team really had to expand at that point to get other people to come in and sort of work with you. Okay, so you can't be a lone ranger, in other words.
But that's the next level.
Yeah, so the stages. You go stages. But if you want it to be visual, you can record your, put your recorder on, like a recorder on your phone. Be in front of your camera, like you might have to have 2 phones, or on your computer you can have a recorder. You can actually record your episode while you're live on doing it YouTube. That way you're not answering those questions, and those questions come later if somebody want to comment, and you can get back with them. So that's the best way to do that. Because even in that video, I was doing texts with the guest, letting the next guest know to come up. I was doing stuff on YouTube, and then Facebook, and he was answering questions too on the other side. So that's why it was 2 months.
Got some phone calls too.
Yeah.
Can I do a quick thing? Do you know how to scroll real quick? So I just want to go real quick over kind of the different processes with that, and then some of my stuff I've done. So Matters of the Heart, you see that's her original one. She has like a collective of it. So we decided to use that to our advantage.
Yeah,
and right
did.
here
Yeah,
is, yeah, stay right there. And then right here is the Facebook banner. So she's got all her affirmations in the back, and then she's got the color, you know, mixed with her shirt and different logos. So that's all her Facebook stuff. And then when you go down here, this is just the background of the affirmations. That's what I created throughout the presentation. And then if you scroll here, this is to make it like on Facebook and YouTube, you have to have it squared and, you know, certain sizes and all that fun stuff.
That's where the biblical comes in.
Okay, and this is really cool. I was really excited about this. It has, you know, when her podcast is, it's got her logo, and if you scroll down, this is actually a magazine, and she, magazine spread, and she's in a magazine actually, as well.
Yeah, that's Queen G's one of Queen G's magazine.
Yes, I am in it as well, so this is my color wheel of experience. You just can kind of see. I do a bunch of things. I specialize in, you know, logo and branding, but I can do all kinds of stuff.
Yes,
This is her spread as well. This is Queen G.
Yeah.
She's a radio personality, and also she interviews celebrities as well.
Yeah.
If you go down to the next one, there's some of her celebrities. Of course, her brother is the celebrity, Mike Tyson. Or Mike
Tyrese.
My bad.
Shame on you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The reason why I said it is I did a Mike Tyson watch.
We sorry. We shouldn't take thanks for watching us. We sorry.
No, keeps going. Keeps scrolling.
She gonna get you.
She's got these books out right now for sale about her story and the homeless. It's very touching and amazing.
Let's not go over her.
That's her husband.
Yeah, Let's Get to Work entertainment company.
Right.
So she does have a media course thing that she does teach. So you guys can get a little bit of that with mine.
Different platforms for her book, and then that's her most recent book.
Good gracious.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's working on some more stuff. She'll tell you with her books when she get here.
So that's kind of my skills, what you kind of need, and there you go.
We're gonna talk afterwards.
So I want to thank our guest today. Let's give them a round of applause. An announcement. We have In Conversation. It's going to be the best networking event you can come to. As a result of you watching today, you can go online to our web page, Zan Wesley Holmes Jr. Community Outreach Center. Register and get complimentary tickets because so many people will be in the house for In Conversation 2020. It's going to be Friday, February the 21st at St. Luke Community United Methodist Church. So please register. Complimentary tickets of the executive director, but it's going to be your best networking. Who's who, and it's sponsored by Mr. McDonald's, Roland Parish Restaurant. He's our title sponsor, and we have so many other sponsors who have put in for this event. So please register for In Conversation, and thank our guests today, Ms. Alexis Williams, and Ms. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
All right, y'all did good.
Thank you. For everyone that I gave the papers to, let those please so that we can